Have you ever noticed how certain truths only reach us when we're truly prepared to receive them? As if there's an invisible force choosing the exact moment to reveal what our soul needs to understand. It's no coincidence that you found this content today. Carl Jung discovered something extraordinary. There's a higher intelligence orchestrating every encounter, every discovery, every awakening in our lives. What you're about to discover only manifests when the universe recognizes that you've reached the level of consciousness necessary to absorb this wisdom. How many times have you felt like you were living on autopilot, following patterns that weren't truly yours? How many times have you wondered if there's a greater purpose behind everything that happens to you? Jung revealed that there's an authentic you waiting to emerge, a more complete and conscious version of who you really are. But this transformation only happens when you're ready to face truths that may have remained hidden until now. If you've made it here, it's because something has changed. You are ready. 1. The call you can no longer ignore. There comes a moment in every person's life when something deep inside begins to stir. It's not dramatic at first. Maybe just a subtle feeling that something isn't quite right with the way you've been living. You might find yourself staring out the window longer than usual, feeling restless in conversations that once satisfied you, or questioning decisions that seemed so certain before. This stirring is what Jung called the call of individuation, your psyche's way of telling you it's time to become who you were truly meant to be. It's like a gentle tap on your shoulder that gradually becomes more insistent, more impossible to ignore. You might feel it as a growing dissatisfaction with your current life, even if everything looks perfect on the outside. The call often arrives disguised as discomfort. You wake up one morning and the routine that used to comfort you now feels suffocating. The job that once excited you now drains your energy. The relationships that seemed fulfilling now feel shallow or empty. This isn't depression or ingratitude. It's your authentic self trying to break through the layers of conditioning and expectations you've accumulated over the years. Many people try to silence this call by staying busier, buying more things, or diving deeper into distractions. They turn up the volume on external noise to drown out the inner voice that's trying to speak. But Jung understood that this voice carries the blueprint of your true nature, and it will keep calling until you listen. The call becomes stronger when you're alone with your thoughts. It whispers during quiet moments, asking uncomfortable questions. Is this really what you want? Are you living your life or someone else's version of what your life should be? What would you do if you weren't afraid of what others might think? Sometimes the call arrives through unexpected events, a sudden loss, a health scare, or a major life change that shakes the foundation of everything you thought you knew. Other times it comes through dreams that feel more real than your waking life, or through a book, conversation, or experience that touches something deep within you. The beautiful thing about this call is that it's completely personal to you. It speaks in the language of your own soul, using symbols and feelings that only you can fully understand. It might come as a longing to create something, to help others in a specific way, to explore parts of yourself you've kept hidden, or to live more authentically in your relationships. Jung believed that ignoring this call leads to what he termed a neurosis of the unlived life, a deep dissatisfaction that comes from not honoring your true nature. People who ignore the call often find themselves feeling empty despite external success, or anxious without understanding why. They may achieve everything society tells them they should want, yet still feel like something essential is missing. The call isn't asking you to abandon everything and start over, though sometimes that's exactly what needs to happen. More often, it's inviting you to make smaller but significant changes, to speak up when you usually stay quiet, to pursue interests you've pushed aside, to set boundaries you've avoided, or to express parts of yourself you've kept hidden. When you finally decide to listen, really listen, something magical happens. The path forward doesn't become completely clear all at once, but you start receiving guidance in ways you never noticed before. Opportunities appear, people enter your life who understand your journey, and circumstances align in ways that feel almost too perfect to be coincidence. The call you can no longer ignore isn't a burden. It's a gift. It's life itself inviting you to step into your full potential, to become the person you came here to be. It's your soul's way of saying that you're ready for the next chapter of your evolution, ready to live with more authenticity, purpose, and joy than you ever thought possible. By the way, if you're curious to go even deeper and integrate your shadows and light, check out the SIM Method ebook. It's a concise guide that can help you unlock your inner power in just 5 minutes a day. The link is in the first pinned comment below. 2. When your soul started speaking louder. Have you noticed how your inner voice has been getting stronger lately? That quiet whisper that used to be easy to dismiss now demands your attention with an urgency you can't explain. This isn't your mind playing tricks on you. It's your soul finally finding its voice after years of being overshadowed by external expectations and social conditioning. Your soul speaks in a completely different language than your rational mind. While your mind analyzes, plans, and worries about the future or past, your soul communicates through feelings, intuitions, and sudden knowings that seem to come from nowhere. It's the part of you that gets excited about certain possibilities even when they don't make logical sense, and feels heavy about paths that look perfect on paper but somehow feel wrong. This inner voice has always been there, but for most of your life it was probably drowned out by louder, more insistent voices. Parents telling you what was practical, teachers explaining what was expected, society showing you what was normal. You learn to listen to everyone except the one voice that actually knows what's right for you. Jung understood that this soul voice carries the wisdom of your unconscious mind, which holds far more information than your conscious awareness can process. It's connected to patterns, possibilities, and truths that your logical mind simply cannot access. When your soul starts speaking louder, it's because it recognizes that you're finally ready to hear what it's been trying to tell you all along. The voice of your soul often contradicts what seems reasonable or safe. It might urge you toward a career change that doesn't guarantee financial security, or push you to end a relationship that looks good from the outside but feels empty within. It might inspire you to move to a new place, learn something completely different, or express yourself in ways that feel vulnerable but authentic. What makes this voice so compelling now is that you've probably reached a point where ignoring it has become more painful than following it. The cost of living disconnected from your authentic self has grown too high. You've tried following other people's advice, meeting other people's expectations, and pursuing other people's dreams, and you've discovered that none of it brings the satisfaction your soul is seeking. Your soul's voice becomes clearer when you create space for it. This might mean spending time in nature, meditating, journaling, or simply sitting quietly without distractions. It speaks through your body's responses. The way certain opportunities make you feel energized while others drain you. The way some conversations light you up while others leave you feeling flat. Dreams often become more vivid and meaningful when your soul is speaking louder. Jung paid careful attention to dreams because he understood they contain messages from the unconscious mind, offering guidance and insight that the conscious mind might miss. Your dreams might be showing you symbols of your true calling, or working through fears and resistances that keep you from following your authentic path. The soul's voice also speaks through what Jung called synchronicities, meaningful coincidences that seem to guide you toward your true path. Books fall off shelves at just the right moment. Conversations happen with exactly the right person. Opportunities appear just when you need them most. These aren't random events. They're your soul's way of showing you that you're moving in alignment with your deeper purpose. Sometimes your soul speaks through what feels like rebellion against your old way of living. You might find yourself unable to pretend to be interested in things that used to occupy your time, or unwilling to participate in conversations and activities that feel meaningless. This isn't negativity. It's your authentic self-clearing space for what truly matters. The beautiful thing about listening to your soul's voice is that it always leads toward more life, more energy, more authenticity. Even when the path seems uncertain or challenging, following your soul's guidance brings a sense of rightness that no external achievement can match. You start living from the inside out instead of the outside in. When your soul started speaking louder, it marked the beginning of your journey toward wholeness. It's calling you home to yourself, inviting you to live as the complete, authentic person you were always meant to be. 3. The signs that were always there. Looking back now, you can probably see them clearly. Those subtle hints and gentle nudges that were trying to guide you toward your authentic path long before you were ready to listen. The signs were never hidden. You simply weren't prepared to recognize them for what they were. Jung believed that the unconscious mind is constantly sending us messages about our true nature and purpose, but we often dismiss them as coincidence or imagination. These signs show up in the things that naturally draw your attention. Even as a child, you probably had interests, activities, or ways of being that felt effortless and exciting. Maybe you loved creating stories, solving problems, helping others feel better, or organizing everything around you. These weren't random preferences. They were early glimpses of your authentic self trying to express itself. Your body has been giving you signs all along too. Certain environments, people, and activities make you feel energized and alive, while others drain you completely. This isn't just personal preference. It's your system responding to what aligns with your true nature versus what conflicts with it. Your soul communicates through physical sensations, and learning to trust these responses is crucial for living authentically. The people you've been naturally drawn to throughout your life also carry important messages. You probably find yourself attracted to individuals who embody qualities you admire or who seem to live with a freedom you crave. These aren't random attractions. They're showing you aspects of yourself that want to be developed or expressed. Sometimes the people who challenge you most are also bringing important signs, highlighting areas where you need to grow or boundaries you need to establish. Your dreams have been dropping hints for years, even if you haven't paid attention to them. Jung discovered that dreams often contain symbols and scenarios that point toward our unlived potential. The recurring themes, the characters who appear repeatedly, the emotions that feel particularly intense, all of these carry messages about who you're becoming and what wants to emerge in your life. Even your struggles and difficulties have been signs pointing you toward growth. The patterns that keep repeating in your relationships, the challenges that seem to follow you from job to job, the fears that hold you back in specific areas, these aren't punishments or bad luck. They're your psyche's way of showing you exactly where your growth needs to happen. The books that have moved you, the movies that made you cry, the songs that gave you chills. These emotional responses are signs too. Art has a way of bypassing our logical defenses and speaking directly to our souls. When something in a story resonates deeply with you, it's often because it's reflecting a truth about your own journey that you haven't fully recognized yet. Your moments of rebellion and resistance have also been important signs. The times when you couldn't bring yourself to follow rules that seemed arbitrary, when you questioned authority that felt unjust, when you refused to accept limitations that others imposed on you. These weren't character flaws. They were your authentic self protecting your right to be who you truly are. Pay attention to what consistently captures your curiosity, the topics you find yourself researching for no practical reason, the conversations that energize you, the problems you naturally want to solve. These interests aren't random. They're breadcrumbs leading you toward your unique contribution to the world. Your physical responses to different environments tell a story too. Some places make you feel peaceful and centered, while others create tension or restlessness. Some types of weather, landscapes, or settings consistently lift your mood, while others consistently bring you down. Your soul recognizes environments that support your authentic expression and reacts accordingly. The compliments you've received throughout your life often point to strengths you take for granted. When people consistently notice certain qualities in you, your ability to listen, your creative solutions, your calming presence, your ability to see possibilities, they're recognizing aspects of your authentic self that you might not fully appreciate. Even your mistakes and failures have been signs guiding you away from paths that weren't truly yours and toward ones that are. Every time something didn't work out the way you planned, it was creating space for something more aligned with your true nature to emerge. The signs were always there because your authentic self has always been there, waiting patiently for you to recognize and embrace it. Now that you're ready to see them, you can use these signs as a roadmap for the journey ahead. 4. The encounter with your inner shadow. There's a part of yourself you've been avoiding your entire life. Not because it's evil or dangerous, but because you've been taught to believe it's unacceptable. Jung called this your shadow, and meeting it face to face is one of the most important encounters you'll ever have. This isn't about confronting some dark, twisted version of yourself. It's about reclaiming the pieces of your personality that you've hidden away because they didn't fit the image you thought you needed to project. Your shadow contains all the qualities, emotions, and desires you've learned to suppress or deny. Maybe you were taught that anger was bad, so you pushed down your natural assertiveness until you became unable to stand up for yourself. Perhaps you learned that being too excited or enthusiastic wasn't cool, so you dimmed your natural joy and passion. Or maybe you were told that certain dreams were unrealistic, so you buried your ambitions so deep you forgot they existed. The shadow isn't your enemy, it's your hidden treasure. Inside this rejected part of yourself lie some of your greatest strengths, your most authentic expressions, and your untapped potential. The very qualities you've been most afraid to show might be exactly what the world needs from you. Your sensitivity might be your superpower. Your intensity might be your gift. Your unconventional thinking might be your greatest asset. Jung discovered that we often project our shadow onto other people, either admiring or despising them for qualities that actually exist within us. The person who annoys you most might be showing you a part of yourself you refuse to acknowledge. The person you most admire might be reflecting back a quality you possess but haven't allowed yourself to express. Meeting your shadow usually happens gradually. You might start noticing contradictions in your behavior or thoughts that don't match the image you have of yourself. You might find yourself reacting strongly to certain situations in ways that surprise you. These aren't signs that something is wrong with you. They're signs that suppressed parts of yourself are trying to surface. The encounter often begins with acknowledging emotions you've tried to avoid. If you've always prided yourself on being calm and rational, you might start noticing moments of intense feeling that you can't explain away. If you've always seen yourself as independent and strong, you might start recognizing needs for connection and support that you've been denying. Your dreams often introduce you to your shadow through characters or scenarios that feel uncomfortable or unfamiliar. the dream figure who acts in ways you would never act, or the dream situation that brings up emotions you don't usually allow yourself to feel. These are invitations to explore disowned parts of yourself. The process of shadow integration isn't about becoming someone you're not. It's about becoming more of who you actually are. It's about expanding your sense of self to include the full spectrum of human experience and emotion. When you stop using so much energy to hide parts of yourself, that energy becomes available for creativity, authentic relationships, and pursuing what truly matters to you. One of the most liberating discoveries in shadow work is realizing that the things you've been most ashamed of are often completely normal human experiences. The anger you've been suppressing might be healthy boundary setting trying to emerge. The sadness you've been avoiding might be grief that needs to be processed so you can move forward. The desires you've been denying might be pointing toward authentic dreams worth pursuing. Your shadow also contains your unlived life, all the paths you didn't take, the identities you didn't explore, the aspects of yourself you never developed. This doesn't mean you should abandon your current life, but it might mean finding ways to honor and express these undeveloped parts of yourself within your existing circumstances. Integrating your shadow doesn't mean acting on every impulse or expressing every emotion without consideration for others. It means acknowledging these parts of yourself with compassion and finding healthy ways to honor them. It means becoming whole rather than perfect, authentic rather than acceptable. The encounter with your shadow is really an encounter with your full humanity. It's the recognition that you are complex, multifaceted, and capable of experiencing the entire range of human emotion and experience. When you stop rejecting parts of yourself, you become more compassionate toward others and more capable of genuine intimacy and creativity. This encounter marks a turning point in your journey toward authenticity. Instead of living as a partial version of yourself, you begin to embrace your wholeness. You discover that your so-called flaws might actually be features, and your rejected qualities might be exactly what makes you uniquely valuable. 5. Why you attract exactly what you need. Have you ever wondered why certain people, situations, and opportunities keep showing up in your life, especially when you're going through major transitions? Jung discovered something remarkable. We don't attract random experiences. We attract exactly what our psyche needs for growth, healing, and evolution, even when these experiences feel uncomfortable or unwelcome at first. Your unconscious mind is far more intelligent than your conscious awareness realizes. It's constantly scanning your environment for people and situations that will help you develop the qualities you need to become whole. This doesn't mean everything that happens to you is pleasant or easy. Often the most important growth comes through challenging experiences that push you beyond your comfort zone. The people who trigger you most strongly are often bringing you opportunities to heal old wounds or develop new strengths. That colleague who seems to push all your buttons might be showing you where you need to establish better boundaries. The friend who challenges your beliefs might be helping you develop a more authentic relationship with your own truth. The partner who brings up your insecurities might be inviting you to heal your relationship with yourself. This process isn't always conscious. Your energy, your beliefs about yourself, and your unconscious patterns create a kind of magnetic field that draws certain experiences toward you. When you believe deep down that you don't deserve love, you'll attract situations that challenge this belief until you're forced to examine and change it. When you're ready to step into more of your power, you'll attract opportunities that require you to be stronger and more confident. The timing of these attractions is rarely accidental. The mentor who appears just when you're ready to learn something new. The opportunity that opens up right after you've decided to make a change. The book that falls into your hands exactly when you need its message. These synchronicities happen because your psyche is actively drawing toward you what serves your growth. Sometimes what you attract seems to contradict what you consciously want. You might be looking for stability but keep attracting chaos, or seeking independence, but keep finding yourself in situations that require cooperation. This apparent contradiction often points to areas where your conscious desires conflict with your deeper needs for development. Your attractions also change as you evolve. The type of relationships that once excited you might start feeling empty as you grow. The work that once challenged you might become boring as you develop new capacities. This isn't fickleness. It's your psyche updating its attraction patterns to match your evolving needs. Jung understood that we often attract our opposite to create balance. If you're overly focused on logic and rationality, you might find yourself drawn to highly emotional or intuitive people. If you tend to be overly giving, you might attract partners who challenge you to receive. These attractions aren't meant to create conflict. They're meant to help you develop a more complete range of human capacities. The law of attraction works, but not in the simplistic way it's often taught. It's not just about positive thinking or visualizing what you want. It's about aligning your entire being, conscious and unconscious, rational and emotional, individual and collective, with your authentic path. When this alignment happens, you naturally attract what serves your highest good. Your body's responses to different people and situations are part of this attraction system. The people who make you feel energized and alive are often aligned with your authentic self or carrying qualities you need to develop. The people who drain your energy might be showing you patterns you need to change or boundaries you need to establish. Even difficult or painful experiences serve this attraction principle. The loss that breaks your heart open might be preparing you for a deeper capacity to love. The failure that crushes your ego might be clearing space for a more authentic sense of self. The crisis that destroys your old life might be making room for a new one that better serves who you're becoming. Understanding this principle can transform your relationship with your experiences. Instead of seeing yourself as a victim of random circumstances, you can begin to see yourself as an active participant in creating your life. Every person you meet, every challenge you face, every opportunity that presents itself becomes a chance to ask, what is this here to teach me? How is this serving my growth? This doesn't mean you should passively accept everything that comes your way. Part of what you attract are opportunities to practice discernment, to set boundaries, to make choices that honor your authentic self. Sometimes, what you need to attract is the courage to walk away from what no longer serves you. The beauty of this process is that as you become more conscious of it, you can begin to participate more actively in your own evolution. You can pay attention to the patterns in your attractions, heal the wounds that create unconscious magnetism toward harmful situations, and consciously align yourself with experiences that support your highest development. 6. The moment when everything makes sense. There comes a pivotal moment in your journey when all the scattered pieces of your life suddenly arrange themselves into a clear, beautiful pattern. It's like stepping back from a complex puzzle you've been working on for years and finally seeing the complete picture. This moment of recognition doesn't arrive through logical analysis or careful planning. It emerges from a deeper place of knowing that transcends ordinary understanding. This clarity often comes when you least expect it. You might be walking in nature, taking a shower, or having a conversation with a friend when suddenly everything clicks into place. The struggles that seemed meaningless now reveal their purpose. The detours that felt like mistakes now show themselves as necessary preparation. The people who entered and left your life now make perfect sense in the larger story of your becoming. Jung called these moments of sudden understanding aha experiences. Moments when the conscious mind finally catches up with what the unconscious has been orchestrating all along. It's as if you've been living inside a beautiful symphony without being able to hear the full orchestra. And suddenly all the individual instruments come together in perfect harmony. The people you've met, the places you've lived, the jobs you've taken, the relationships you've been in. None of it was random. Each experience was preparing you for this moment of recognition, developing the qualities you needed, teaching you the lessons that would serve your larger purpose. Even the experiences that seemed negative or painful were part of this larger pattern, creating the depth and compassion that make you who you are now. This moment often reveals your unique contribution to the world. You begin to see how your particular combination of talents, experiences, and perspectives creates something that only you can offer. Your struggles weren't obstacles to overcome. They were training grounds that prepared you to help others facing similar challenges. Your gifts weren't accidents. They were tools you were meant to develop and share. The timing of this recognition is never accidental. It comes when you've developed enough wisdom to handle the responsibility that comes with seeing your larger purpose, enough strength to pursue it despite obstacles, and enough authenticity to express it in your own unique way. Earlier in your life, this clarity might have been overwhelming or misguided. Now it feels like coming home to yourself. With this understanding comes a deep sense of peace about your path. The anxiety about whether you're making the right choices begins to fade because you can see how even your mistakes served the larger pattern. The need to compare yourself to others diminishes because you understand that everyone has their own unique symphony to play. This moment also brings clarity about your relationships. You begin to understand why certain people stayed in your life while others moved on. Some were meant to accompany you for the entire journey. Others were teachers who appeared for specific lessons, and still others were mirrors who helped you see parts of yourself you needed to recognize or heal. The challenges you've faced now reveal their gifts. The loss that broke your heart open created space for deeper love. The failure that humbled your ego cleared the way for authentic success. The confusion that clouded your path was actually guiding you away from directions that wouldn't have served your highest good. Your seemingly contradictory qualities now make perfect sense too. The sensitivity that sometimes feels like a burden is actually your greatest strength for connecting with others. The intensity that others have criticized is the very quality that allows you to create meaningful change. The unconventional thinking that made you feel like an outsider is exactly what the world needs from you. This clarity doesn't mean your path becomes effortless from this point forward. But it does mean you can navigate future challenges with greater trust and confidence. You understand that life is supporting your evolution, even when individual experiences feel difficult or confusing. The moment when everything makes sense is really the moment when you recognize yourself as both the author and the main character of your own story. You see that you've been unconsciously creating the exact experiences you needed to become who you were meant to be. This recognition brings tremendous empowerment because you realize you can continue to consciously create experiences that support your continued growth and contribution. From this moment forward, you live with a deeper sense of purpose and meaning. Decisions become easier because you have a clearer sense of what aligns with your authentic path. Relationships become more meaningful because you understand your role in other people's journeys and theirs in yours. Work becomes more fulfilling because you can see how your unique gifts serve something larger than yourself. 7. Your true mission reveals itself. After years of wondering what you're supposed to be doing with your life, your authentic purpose finally emerges with startling clarity. This isn't the kind of mission statement you create through career counseling or personality tests. It's a deep knowing that rises from the intersection of your unique gifts, your life experiences, and the world's genuine needs. Your true mission was always there, waiting for you to develop the wisdom and courage necessary to embrace it fully. Your mission isn't necessarily what you thought it would be. It might not involve the career you studied for or the dreams you had in your 20s. Instead, it emerges from who you've actually become through all your experiences. The wounds you've healed, the strengths you've developed, the wisdom you've gained. Your mission is intimately connected to your personal journey because the very challenges you've overcome have prepared you to help others facing similar struggles. This revelation often feels both surprising and inevitable. Surprising because it might involve aspects of yourself you never considered central to your purpose. Inevitable because once you see it clearly, you can't imagine how you missed it for so long. All the threads of your life suddenly weave together into a clear picture of what you're here to contribute. Your true mission usually involves serving something larger than your personal success or happiness. It's about using your unique combination of talents and experiences to make a difference in other people's lives or to contribute to positive change in the world. This doesn't mean you have to save the entire planet. Sometimes the most important missions involve touching one life at a time or creating beauty that brings joy to those who encounter it. The mission often reveals itself through what consistently breaks your heart or ignites your passion. The injustices that make you angry, the problems you can't stop thinking about, the types of suffering you feel called to alleviate. These emotional responses point toward areas where your mission might lie. Your heart breaks for specific things because your soul recognizes where you're meant to serve. As you sit here now, having journeyed through these revelations, something has already shifted within you. The universe didn't bring you to this moment by accident. You're here because you're ready to stop living as a smaller version of yourself. The question isn't whether you'll answer the call you can no longer ignore, but how quickly you'll trust what your soul has been whispering all along. Your authentic life is waiting, and it's been waiting specifically for this moment when you finally have the courage to claim it. The person you came here to be isn't somewhere in the distant future. They're right here, right now, ready to emerge the moment you decide to stop hiding and start living.